Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Financial Hacker. This is Mahesh and I am a chartered accountant. Today let us discuss about the key highlights of the budget 2021 presented by our Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Feb 1st, 2021. The budget will be the first of this new decade and the budget is also a digital budget first ever in the Indian history. This budget is also followed by the contraction in economy due to global pandemic COVID-19. This is the third time the budget has been presented after the contraction. The budget proposals for 2021-22 are rest on 6 pillars. They are health and well-being, fiscal, financial, capital and infrastructure, inclusive development for aspirational India, reinvigorating human capital, innovation and R&D, minimum government and maximum governance. With respect to health and well-being, PM Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat Yojana has been launched with an outlay of 64,180 crores over 6 years. Some of the main elements of this scheme are support for 17,788 rural and 11,024 urban health and wellness centers, strengthening of National Center for Disease Control, setting up of 15 health emergency operation centers and 2 mobile hospitals, setting up of a National Institution for One Health, 9 biosafety level 3 laboratories and 4 regional national institutions for virology, etc. Mission Poshan 2.0 will be launched to improve nutritional outcomes across 112 aspirational districts. For building a smarter urban India, some of the schemes has been launched like Jal Jeevan Mission, Urban Swachh Bharat Mission, etc. Jal Jeevan Mission will be implemented with an outlay of 2,87,000 crores over 5 years, aiming universal water supply in 4,317 urban local bodies as well as liquid waste management in 500 Amrut cities. Government will implement the Urban Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0 with an outlay of 1,41,678 crores over a period of 5 years. The main focus of this scheme is on wastewater treatment, reduction in single-use plastic, reduction in air pollution, and etc. For clean air, rupees 2,217 crores has been allocated for 42 urban centers with a 1 million plus population. Scrapping policy has been introduced for the first time in the budget. Voluntary vehicle scrapping policy has been announced to phase out old and unfit vehicles, which will impact the vehicular pollution and oil import. Vehicles would undergo fitness tests in automated fitness centers after 20 years in case of personal vehicles and after 15 years in case of commercial vehicles. And do you know that the word budget has been derived from the French word bogote, which means a small bag. With respect to health and well-being, rupees 2,23,846 crores has been allocated as against 94,452 crores in the previous budget. We can witness a 137% rise in this allocation, out of which 35,000 crores has been allocated for COVID-19 vaccine. You can see the allocation of 2,23,846 crores to various departments and ministries. 2,663 crores has been allocated for Department of Health Research, 2,700 crores for nutrition, as I mentioned 35,000 crores for COVID-19 vaccine, 71,269 crores for Department of Health and Family Welfare, etc. And do you know that the first independent budget of India has been presented by R.K. Shanmugam Shetty on November 26, 1947. To achieve the target of $5 trillion economy, our manufacturing sector has to grow in double digits on a sustainable basis. To achieve all of the above, production-linked incentive schemes have been announced for 13 sectors with an outlay of 1.97 lakh crores over a period of 5 years. This initiative will bring scale and size in key sectors, create and nurture global champions and provide jobs to our youth. In addition to production-linked incentive schemes, Mitra, Mega Investment Textile Parks will be launched, which will create world-class infrastructure with plug-and-play facilities to enable create global champions in exports. 7 textile parks will be launched over 3 years. With respect to infrastructure, National Infrastructure Pipeline has now expanded from 6,835 projects to 7,400 projects, and also mentioned that 217 projects worth 1.1 lakh crores have been completed. For funding these projects, it is proposed to take the following 3 ways: by creating institutional structures, by a big thrust on monetizing assets, by enhancing the share of capital expenditure in center and state budget. The Finance Minister has announced that a bill will be introduced to set up a DFI, Development Financial Institution, for long-term debt financing to develop infrastructure and provided 20,000 crores for its capitalization. and she added that rupees 5 lakh crores will be lent by this DFA after 3 years. It is proposed to make suitable amendments in relevant legislations to enable debt financing for infrastructure investment trusts and real estate trusts by foreign portfolio investors, thus increasing funds for infrastructure and real estate sectors. Asset monetization. What is asset monetization? Asset monetization involves creation of new sources of revenue by unlocking of value of unutilized or underutilized public assets. You can see that out of total receipts in budget 2021, almost 5% of the receipts are being received from asset monetization. Other infra assets that will be rolled out of under this program are NAI operational toll roads, National Highway Authority of India operational toll roads, transmission assets of PGCIL, oil and gas pipeline of GAIL, IOCL and HPCL, sports stadiums, warehousing assets of CPSEs, etc. And do you know that Morarji Desai has presented 10 union budgets in parliament, which is the highest by a single finance minister, followed by P. Chidambaram with 9 budgets. You can see in this budget there is a boost to the capital expenditure. Rupees 5.5 lakh crores have been provided for capital expenditure, which is 34.5% more than the budget estimates for financial year 2021. Over and above this expenditure, we would also be providing more than 2 lakh crores to state and autonomous bodies for their capital expenditure. The budget 2021 projects capital expenditure to increase sharply by 34.4% to 5.54 lakh crores for financial year 2022. This would be the second highest growth after a 61.8% in financial year 2008 over 2 decades. Under Bharatmala Prayojana project, 8,500 kilometers of highway projects to be awarded. For roads and highway infrastructure, highest ever outlay of 1,18,101 crores have been allocated. Some of the economic corridors have been planned. Madurai Kollam corridor, Madurai Kanyakumari corridor, Kolkata Selangani road corridor, and some of the national highway in Assam. You can see the various costs with respect to the corridors here. With respect to railways infrastructure, record sum of 1,10,052 crore has been provided, out of which 1,07,100 is for capital expenditure only. To enable Make in India, Western Dedicated Freight Corridor and Eastern Dedicated Freight Corridor to be commissioned by June 2022. To give better travelling experience, Vistadom LHB coast on tourist routes will be introduced. 100% electrification of rail broad gauge routes to be completed by December 2023. To eliminate train collision due to human error, high density rail networks will be provided with indigenously developed automatic train production system. A new scheme will be launched at a cost of 18,000 crores to support increase of public bus transport services. The scheme will boost up the automobile sector, provide fillip to economic growth, create employment opportunities for our youth, and enhance ease of mobility for urban residents. 2 new technologies, Metro Light and Metro Neo, will be deployed to provide Metro Light systems at much lesser cost with same experience, convenience and safety in Tier 2 cities and peripheral areas of Tier 1 cities. And for Phase 2A and 2B of Bengaluru Metro Railway projects, you can see the funding for various metro railway projects over here. Power distribution sector scheme will be launched with an outlay of 3,05,984 crores over 5 years, which will provide assistance to DISCOMs, distribution companies, for infrastructure creation including prepaid metering, feeder separation, upgradation of systems, etc. A comprehensive hydro energy mission 2021-22 to be launched for generating hydrogen from green power sources. Said that a framework will be set to let the consumers have the freedom to choose their power distribution company. And you know that in 2019, our Finance Minister Sitharaman has ditched the traditional budget briefcase. Instead, she carried a red packet with a national emblem wrapped with a ribbon named Bai Kata. In 2021, it was present in Indian made tablet. Rupees 1,624 crore subsidy support to Indian shipping companies to promote flagging of merchant ships in India. 7 projects worth more than 2,000 crores will be offered by major ports on PPP mode. public-private partnership mode for managing the operational services of the ports. A scheme to provide subsidy support to Indian shipping companies in global tenders floated by Ministry of CPSEs to promote flagging of merchant ships in India, which will enable greater training and employment opportunities for Indian seafarers, besides enhancing Indian companies' shares in global shipping. And with respect to recycling of ships, India has enacted Recycling of Ships Act 2019 and acceded to the Hong Kong International Convention. Efforts will be made to bring more ships to India from Europe and Japan. Recycling capacity of around 4.5 million light displacement ton will be doubled by 2024, which will generate additional 1.5 lakhs jobs for youth. Ujjwala scheme, which has been benefited 8 crores households, will be extended to cover 1 crore more beneficiaries. It is proposed to add 100 more districts in the next 3 years for the city gas distribution network. A gas pipeline project will be taken up in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has announced that the Union government will launch a unified single securities market code in order to streamline the market. This code will help in streamlining the multiple laws like Government Securities Act, Securities Contract Regulation Act, Depositories Act and SEBI Act, ordinances, guidelines and regulations. Also said that the market regulator SEBI will be notified as the regulator of gold exchanges in India. Proposed for development of world-class fintech hub at Gift City, IFSC. A permanent institutional framework to be created to purchase investment-grade debt securities both in stress and normal times and help in the development of bond market. And an investor charter to be introduced as a right of all financial investors across all financial products for investors' protection. The charter will define the rights and obligations of the investors as well as the departments. Foreign direct investment in insurance sector. In 2015, government hiked the FDI cap in insurance sector from 26% to 49%. The COVID-19 pandemic has shown the future penetration of insurance in India is needed for the capital infusion required. For that, capital infusion is required. To attract more overseas capital inflows, our finance minister has proposed to increase the FDI limit in insurance sector from 49% to 74% and allow foreign ownership and control with safeguards. Under the new structure, the majority of directors on the board and key management person would be resident Indians, with at least 50% of directors being independent directors and specified percentage of profits being retained as the general reserve. Public sector banks. An ARC and AMC, Asset Reconstruction Company and Asset Management Company, would be set up to consolidate and take over the existing stressed debt of public sector banks and then manage and dispose of the assets to alternate investment funds and other potential investor for eventual value realization. To further consolidate the financial capacity of the public sector banks, further recapitalization of 20,000 crores is proposed in 2021-22. This can be done by either buying new shares or by issuing bonds by the government. By infusing more capital in these banks, they can meet the capital adequacy norms set by the RBI. With respect to deposit insurance, last year government has approved an increase in the deposit insurance from 1 lakh to 5 lakhs for bank customers. The finance minister said in her budget speech that she will bring the amendment in DIGCGC Act 1961 to allow this in current budget session. In case bank fails or withdrawals from the bank are stopped due to financial pressure on the bank, the depositors will be able to get immediate access to the deposits up to Rs 5 lakhs, which is deposit insurance amount. This will greatly help the depositors in meeting immediate financial needs. This proposal has been introduced because of this PMC bank crisis, etc. Finance Minister has proposed to brought down the value of loans that can be introduced for debt recovery under the Surface Act to 20 lakhs from 50 lakhs for NBFCs having minimum assets of 100 crores. This will improve credit discipline and also continue to protect the investors of small borrowers. And you know that Indira Gandhi was the first woman finance minister to present the budget in 1970, followed by Nirmala Sitharaman in 2019. Discriminalization of LLP Act 2008 is proposed by the finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Discriminized offences will be transferred to in-house adjudication mechanism to free criminal code from routine cases. MCA will launch data analytics, artificial intelligence machine and machine learning driven MCA 21 version 3.0 with additional modules for e-scrutiny, e-adjudication, e-consultation and compliance management. To ensure faster resolution of cases, NCLT framework will be strengthened. E-court systems will be implemented and alternate methods of debt resolution and special framework for MSMEs shall be introduced. With respect to companies, she has proposed to change the definition of small company under Companies Act 2013. Companies with paid up capital of 2 crores and turnover up to 20 crores will be fall under the small companies. This will benefit more than 2 lakh companies in easing their compliances requirements. It is also proposed to incentivize the incorporation of one-person companies by allowing OPCs to grow without any restriction on paid up capital and turnover, allowing their conversion into any type of company at any time, reducing the residency limit required for the Indian citizens to 120 days from present 182 days, and also allowing non-resident Indians to incorporate OPCs in India, which directly benefits the startups. It is a big boost for our startups. With respect to disinvestments of BPCL, Air India, Shipping Corporation of India, Container Corporation of India, IDBI Bank, BEML, Pawan Hans are proposed to complete in the financial year 2021 and 22 and proposed to privatize the one general insurance company and two public sector banks in financial year 2021-22 and also proposed to bring the IPO for LIC in financial year 2021-22 and estimated around 1,75,000 crores as receipts from disinvestments. Sectors will be classified as strategic and non-strategic. In strategic sectors, there will be bare minimum presence of the public sector enterprises. In non-strategic sectors, CPSEs will be privatized, otherwise shall be closed. A special purpose vehicle in the form of a company will be formed to monetize the idle assets. For ease of doing business, it was proposed for development of multi-state cooperatives and setting up a separate administrative structure for cooperatives to further streamline the ease of doing business. With respect to welfare of farmers, minimum support price MSP regime has undergone a major change to assure price that is at least 1.5 times the cost of production across all commodities. Financial Minister said that she has enhanced the agricultural credit target to 16.5 lakh crores in financial year 2022 and will focus on ensuring increased credit flow to animal husbandry, dairy and fisheries. Swamitva scheme is now proposed to extend to cover all states and union territories, which provides a record of rights to the property owners in the villages. And you know that until 2000, the budget was presented at 5 p.m. on the last working day of February. In 2001, the former finance minister Yashwant Sinha changed it to 11 a.m. With respect to rural development, micro irrigation fund under NABARD has been developed from 5,000 crores to 10,000 crores. Infrastructure development fund has been enhanced from 30,000 crores to 40,000 crores. Operation Green scheme will be enlarged to 22 perishable products, which boosts value addition in agriculture and allied products and their exports. 1,000 more mandis will be integrated with e-Nam. As of now, around 1.68 crore farmers are registered and 1.14 lakh crores of trade value has been carried out through e-Nams. For developments of fishing harbors, it was proposed to develop 5 major fishing harbors in Kochi, Chennai, Visakhapatnam, Paradip and Pittughat as hubs of economic activity. Seaweed farming is an emerging sector and it is proposed to establish a multi-purpose seaweed park in Tamil Nadu. One Nation, One Ration Card scheme has been benefited around 69 crore people of migrant workers, through which beneficiaries can claim their ration anywhere in the country. And also it is proposed to launch a portal that will collect relevant info of gig, building and construction workers, which will help to formulate health, housing, skill, insurance, credit and food schemes for migrant workers. For the first time globally, social security benefits will extend to gig and platform workers. Minimum wages will apply to the all categories of workers. and they will be covered by the Employee State Insurance Corporation. Women will be allowed to work in all categories and also in the night shift with adequate protection. At the same time, compliance burden on employers will be reduced with a single registration and licensing and online returns. Do you know that the Nirmala Sitharaman delivered the longest speech in Indian history, 2 hours 40 minutes in 2020, and followed by the Arun Jaitley, who delivered his longest speech, which is 2 hours 30 minutes in 2014. Margin money required under stand-up scheme has reduced from 25% to 15% to further facilitate credit flow to the STs, SCs and women. To support MSME sector, rupees 15,700 crores have been provided, which is more than the double of this year's allocation. More than 15,000 schools will be qualitatively strengthened to include all components of national education policy. 100 new Sainik schools will be set up in partnership with NGOs and private schools. To create robust infrastructure facilities for our tribal students, a target is set to establish 750 Ekalavya schools with a unit cost of 38 crores and 48 crores in hilly and difficult areas. Under post-matric scholarship scheme, rupees 35,219 crores over 6 years has been allocated to benefit 4 core ST students. With respect to higher education, government will implement the legislation for setting up of Higher Education Commission of India, proposed to set up Central University in Leh for higher education. A complete shift in evaluation of a student holistic progress card is envisaged to provide students with valuable information on their strengths, areas of interest, needed areas of focus, and thereby helping them in making optimal career paths. In 2021-22, they will enable the training of 56 lakh school teachers through the National Initiative for School Heads and Teachers for Holistic Advancements, which is nothing but NISTA. And do you know that ahead of the budget, a halwa ceremony is held in the Ministry of Finance. The traditional dessert is then distributed to the staff of the ministry. Over 3,000 crores have been provided for National Apprenticeship Training Scheme for providing post-education apprenticeship, training of graduates and diploma holders in engineering. A collaborative inter-training program between India and Japan is formed to facilitate transfer of Japanese industrial and vocational skills, techniques and knowledge. Standardization of Indian Sign Language across the country was proposed for children with hearing impairments. 50,000 crores over 5 years has been provided for National Research Foundation to ensure overall research ecosystems of the country is strengthened with focus on identified national priority thrust areas. Digital payments. There has been a manifold increase in the digital payments in the recent past. To give further boost to digital transactions, rupees 1,500 crores has been earmarked for a proposed scheme that will provide financial incentives to promote digital modes of payment. National Language Translation Mission, a new initiative which will enable the wealth of governance and policy related knowledge on the internet being made available in major Indian languages. New Space India Limited will execute PSLV CS-51 launch, carrying the Amazonia satellite from Brazil and along with fewer smaller Indian satellites. As a part of Gaganyaan mission activities, 4 Indian astronauts are being trained on generic space flight aspects in Russia. The first unmanned launch is slated for December 2021. Deep Ocean mission has been launched with an outlay of 4,000 crores over 5 years. This mission will cover deep ocean survey exploration and projects for the conversion of deep sea biodiversity. To bring about the transparency, efficiency and governance reforms in the nursing profession, the National Nursing and Midwifery Commission Bill will be introduced by the government. Digital census. Rupees 3,768 crores in year 2021-22 have been allocated for the forthcoming 8th census, and it could be the first digital census in the history of India. 300 crores have been granted to Government of Goa for celebrating the diamond jubilee years of the state's liberation from Portuguese rule. For welfare of tea workers, 1000 crores have been provided for the welfare of tea workers, especially women and their children in Assam and West Bengal. Budgeted estimate for expenditure in 2021 are 34.83 lakh crores. This includes 5.5 lakh crores as capital expenditure, an increase of 34.5% over the budgeted figure of 2021, as I already mentioned in the previous slides. The fiscal deficit in budgeted estimates of 2021-22 is estimated to be 6.8% of the gross domestic product. Also mentioned that gross borrowings from the market for the next year would be around 12 lakh crores. The contingency fund of India is being proposed to be increased from 500 crores to 3,000 crores, 500 crores to 30,000 crores through finance bill, which can be achieved by increasing tax revenue by improved compliance and by monetizing of assets. As per 15th Finance Commission, normal ceiling of net borrowings for states are allowed at 4% of the gross state domestic product. Additional 0.5% will also be provided subject to the conditions. States will be expected to reach a fiscal deficit of 3% of gross state domestic product by 2023-24. On the basis of 15th Commission recommendations, 1,18,452 crores have been provided as revenue deficit grant to 17 states in 2021-22 as against 74,340 crores to 14 states in 2021. In 75th year of independence of our country, it is proposed to reduce the burden on our senior citizens who are 75 years of age and above from filing IT returns who are having only pension and interest income. The paying bank will deduct the necessary tax on their income. And also proposed to reduce the time limit for reopening the assessment to 3 years from present 6 years. In case of serious tax evasions amounting 50 lakhs or more, reopening can be done up to 10 years after getting prior approval of Principal Chief Commissioner. And also proposed to set up a dispute resolution committee which will be a faceless for small taxpayers with a taxable income up to 50 lakhs and a disputed income up to 10 lakhs. And also proposed to set up a national faceless income tax appellate tribunal where all communication between the tribunal and the appellant shall be electronic. Where personal hearing is needed, it shall be done through video conferencing. And also proposed to notify the rules for non-resident Indians for removing their hardship of double taxation with respect to getting credit in foreign jurisdictions for taxes paid in India. Exemption from tax audit. In previous budget, tax audit limit has been increased from 1 crore to 5 crores to those who are carrying 95% of their activities digitally. To further incentivize the digital transactions and reduce compliance burden, tax audit limit for such persons has increased to 10 crore rupees. In previous budget, in order to incentivize the investments, dividend distribution tax has been abolished. Now, in order to provide ease of compliance, dividend payment to real estate investment trust and infrastructure investment trust is exempt from tax. And also mentioned that advance tax liability on dividend income for shareholders shall arise only after the declaration or payment of dividend. For foreign portfolio investors, it is proposed to deduct tax on dividend income at lower treaty rates. Additional deduction under section 80 EEA of Income Tax Act of rupees 1,50,000 on interest payments for loans taken to purchase an affordable housing loan has been extended by 1 more year, that is till 31st March 2022. Further tax holiday for affordable housing projects and affordable renting housing projects has been extended by 1 more year to keep up the supply of affordable houses. Tax incentives to IFSCs. Additional tax incentives to companies located in IFSC has been provided, like tax holiday for capital gains for aircraft leasing companies, tax exemption for aircraft lease rentals paid to foreign lessors, tax incentives for relocating foreign funds in IFSC, tax exemption to investment division of foreign banks located in IFSC. To ease compliance for the taxpayers, details of salary, income tax payments, TDS, etc. already come pre-filled in income tax returns. To further ease of filing of returns, details of capital gains from listed securities, dividend income and interest from banks, post office, etc. will also be pre-filled. To reduce the compliance burden For small charitable trusts running educational institutions and hospitals, blanket exemption has been raised from annual receipts of 1 crore to 5 crores, and that is their income is fully exempt from tax if it is within the threshold limits. To ensure employees' contributions like Provident Fund, Superannuation Fund are deposited on time by the employer, late deposit of employees' contribution by the employer will not be allowed as a deduction to the employer, which means if they have not paid the deducted amount to the respective funds, it will be treated as income on the employer's hand and they need to pay tax on that amounts. Incentives for startups. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has extended the eligibility for claiming tax holiday for startups by one more year, that is 31st March 2022, providing a much needed post-pandemic boost to startups. Also, to incentivize the funding, capital gain exemption for investments in startups is exempted by one more year. Custom duty rationalization. It was said that 80 outdated exemptions have been eliminated in the previous year, and this year it is proposed to review 400 old exemptions, and said that from October 1st they will put in place the revised structure of the custom duty. And also said that any new custom duty exemption henceforth will have a validity up to 31st March following 2 years from the date of its issue. Domestic electronic manufacturing has grown rapidly. We are now exporting items like mobiles and chargers. For greater domestic value addition, a few exemptions on parts of chargers and some parts of mobiles has been withdrawn. Further, some parts of the mobiles will move from nil rate to moderate 2.5% of the custom duty. With respect to iron and steel, MSME and other user industries have severely hit by a recent sharp rise in iron and steel prices. Therefore, custom duties on semis, flats and long products of non-alloy and stainless steels has been reduced uniformly to 7.5%. To provide relief to metal recyclers, mostly MSMEs, duty on steel scrap has been exempted for a period up to 31st March 2022, and also revoking ADD and CVD on certain steel products. To provide relief to copper recyclers, duty on copper scrap has been reduced from 5% to 2.5%. With respect to textile industry, textile sector generates employment and contributes significantly to our economy. There is need to rationalize duties on raw material inputs to man-made textiles, uniformly reducing the BCD rates on nylon chips and nylon fiber and yarn to 5%. This will help the textile industry, MSMEs and exports too. With respect to gold and silver, presently attracts a basic custom duty of 12.5%. Prices of precious metals have risen sharply. To bring it closer to previous levels, custom duty on gold and silver has been rationalized, that is brought down to 7.5%. And do you know that the railway budget and union budget were presented separately till 2017, after which they were merged into a single presentation. Renewable energy. To encourage domestic production, duty on solar inverters has been raised from 5% to 20%, and on solar lanterns from 5% to 15%. There is immense potential in manufacturing heavy capital equipment domestically. It is proposed to withdraw exemption on tunnel boring machine. It will attract a custom duty of 7.5% and its parts at a duty of 2.5% will be imposed. Custom duty on certain auto parts has been raised to 15% to bring them on par with the general rates on auto parts. To benefit farmers, customs duty on cotton has been raised from nil to 10%, and on raw silk and silk yarn from 10 to 15%. Rates are being uniformly calibrated to 15% on items like maize, barn, rice, barn oil cake, animal feed additives, etc. With respect to agricultural infrastructure and development, says an immediate need to improve the agricultural infrastructure is there so that we can produce more. To earmark resources for this purpose, Financial Minister has proposed an agricultural infrastructure development cess on a small number of items and mentioned that enough care has been taken to not to put on additional burden on consumers. An agricultural infrastructure development cess of 2.5 per litre has been imposed on petrol and 4 per litre on diesel, 2.5% on gold, silver and door bars, 100% on alcoholic beverages falling under chapter 22, and mentioned that overall there would be no additional burden on the consumer. We can see budget receipts, revenue receipts, revenue expenditure in crores, capital expenditure crores at a glance. You can see the 5,54,236 crores for capital expenditure, and where rupee comes in and rupee goes out. Also, you can see that not only India, the world has been facing the V-shaped recovery due to this global pandemic COVID-19. Everyone is recovering slowly with respect to gross domestic product and inflation, etc. You can see the various comments of for budget 2021-22 by our defense minister Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, Rahul Gandhi, P. Chidambaram. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has given 10 out of 10, and P. Chidambaram has said a let down like never before. We don't know. Let's see. Let's hope for the best. Thank you.